Hi everyone, this is Bibi Cameron here. Welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to show you how to make interactive theater cards using MAXI, the latest die collection designed for Becca Ficken for Spellbinders. And this collection includes 11 die sets and 1 stamp set. First, let me show you the die set that will create the card base. This die set includes 14 pieces. This large rectangular die here will cut the backing panel of the card. And if you combine that large rectangular die with this smaller die here, you will be able to easily die cut the front panel of your card. To do this correctly, I'm going to die cut this solid piece first. And you will notice that this die has tiny little lines embossed on the die, and this will also emboss the paper. And here you are going to need to find a way to align those embossed lines on the paper with the indentations in this smaller die here. So I use a piece of cardstock, but you can use a ruler or anything else. You could also create a template by doing this and then use that piece as a guide for mass production. And keep this piece here because you are going to need it. It's key to assemble the mechanism. Now we are going to die cut this piece using this die here. And then again, you need to align the indentation in the die with the embossed line in the paper. It's very hard to show you that embossed line in the video, but it's there. So there you go. This is the front panel of the card finished. You can do this in different ways, and you can also use different colors for the different parts of your card. And now let's die cut the mechanism. So for that, you are going to need 2 of these. I have 4 of them here because I'm going to make 2 cards. And this little die here is going to allow you to die cut the word pull. You are going to need 2 of these to adhere to the sides of the mechanism so that your recipient will know that they need to pull from there, so they will see the motion of the card. The next I want to show you is extremely important, is the dies you are going to need to create the mechanism. And these are these ones here. All you have to do is to use a washi tape at the back of this die here, like so. And we are going to place the dies that I have on my table like I'm showing here. So this die here and this one here are going to score those tiny lines on the paper. This one here is just a plate that will allow me to affix all these dies there. And these dies here will cut a small slit, a medium slit, and a large slit. And we are going to place the smaller slit die, which is this one here, next to this side of the die. So we are going to place the smaller slit die, the medium one, and then the larger slit die, just like so. And I apologize for any noise in the background. I have all my family here due to the lockdown. Okay, so now we are going to die cut one of the 2 pieces we need for the mechanism. The slits in this piece, small, medium, large. And now we need to die cut a mirror piece. And I clean the dies when they are still attached to that washi tape. Then I just rotate the dies like so. They are in the same order, but this time they will cut the paper differently. For mass production, you can just die cut several pieces like this, then rotate the dies and die cut others in the other direction. I die cut 2 of each because I'm going to be making 2 cards. And you are also going to need this piece here that is the central part of that frame. This piece here is the one that is going to connect those 2 pieces of the mechanism. So I'm going to fold the paper over those scoring lines created by the dies. And by doing this, I can show you how this piece that connect them together will go behind them. I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch from this piece here. I really want to make sure that in the front we get a very narrow gap when the card is closed. And then we are going to adhere this piece behind, making sure this piece is at the top of the die cut slits, just like that. And when you rotate the paper, you will notice that that piece is just connecting those 2 pieces and it's just there in the center. And you can also just glue it there in the center without all the folding. But this is just for you to understand the mechanism. When you close this, you will see that you have no gap at the front. The next thing we need to do is to add the front panel, and we need these two pieces here with two small foam pads attached to the ends. And then I'm going to rotate the paper, and I'm going to make sure that the mechanism is aligned in the center and the edges of the paper at the sides are aligned too. And then I'm going to adhere this just next to the flaps of that mechanism. Not over, but next to that, just like so. The die cut slits are going to be here at the bottom. This is going to be the bottom of the card. This is going to be the top of the card. At this stage, the mechanism should be fully working. And all you have to do is to adhere any decorative piece if you want. You can do it here or then later. And I'm going to use a piece of low-tack tape to hold this in place to be able to adhere the back panel of the card. And that is the card base done. Next, we need to make the 3 insert panels for this card. And all these panels are going to measure 4 inches 3/4 width. So I'm going to cut a piece of paper at 4 inches 3/4. Then I'm going to rotate the paper and I'm going to cut the taller panel that measures 3 inches 1/4. This is going to be the backing insert. Then I'm going to cut another piece that measures 2 inches 3/4 and another piece that measures 1 inch 3/4. So all these panels are 4 inches 3/4 width, but the one in the back is always taller than the one in the front. And to die cut these insert panels, you have 6 different die set options. Each of these die sets will provide you with all the elements you need to complete a card. And they will allow you to die cut different pieces that when you create those inserts, it will create a very beautiful dimensional composition. Each die set includes a large sentiment that is supposed to go in the backing layer of the card. And you will also get tiny little dies to die cut embellishments and decorative pieces for the card. And most of these dies will partially die cut the paper, so you can take advantage of the die designs to create something else. So it doesn't have to be always a 3-dimensional card. Although these die sets have been created to be used with that card base that I just showed you at the beginning of the video, you can also use these dies individually if you want to. You could mix and match dies from this collection to create different projects, especially this one here that only contains sentiments. For this sample, I'm going to use rolling along die set. To die cut each panel, you are going to need 3 dies. So these 3 dies here, forget the bike that I have there. This die is going to be placed always at the top of the piece, and the edge of the tallest die that you might be using need to be aligned with the top edge of the paper. And the bottom edge of this die need to be aligned with the bottom edge of the paper in all the cases. Secure the dies using washi tape or a low-tack tape and run this through the machine. So you will have some raw edges there. Don't worry. All you have to do is to gently tear the paper apart of the die cut. And you can also use scissors to complete this part. For the next piece, again, I'm using 3 dies. I'm going to align the top edge of the tallest die with the top edge of that paper. And then I'm going to align this one here at the bottom of that piece, and I'm going to die cut the paper. And again, you can use scissors to remove any excess of cardstock from that piece. For this piece here, I decided to use a die from other set. That is these little fences here. Again, I'm using 3 dies. I'm aligning the edge of the tallest die with the top edge of that piece of cardstock and the bottom edge of that small die at the bottom. By respecting this simple rule, you will be able to create different insert panels for your card using different die sets in this collection, and you can even experiment using dies you might have in your stash. But I will advise you to keep it simple and not so bulky so that your card is going to fall flat. Okay, the last thing you might need to do is to embellish, and I love adding shine to my projects by using mirror cardstock. So I'm going to be using silver and gold mirror cardstock to embellish this card. And I'm also going to die cut little flowers and elements that are going to bring this card to life. Something super important to tell you is that I changed my mind regarding the sentiment, and to avoid confusing you, I just leave this part here in the video, but I decided to make a birthday card. But you will see there as well that you can just change your mind any moment in the process. And you will find that the challenge here is to make your mind about the colors of the cardstock you want to use and the techniques you want to use to add colors to your images. One of the good things about mirror cardstock is that when you get extra glue over the die cut, you can just use a glue eraser to get rid of it, and your die cuts are going to look shiny and beautiful. And if there is something I love about this collection, is the die sets to create the insert panels. They are really cute, and they have incredible tiny little pieces to create the most intricate details, like the seat for this bike or the handle of the steering wheel, and the little parts, just so fantastic and so beautiful. I'm totally in love with this one, for example, as you can even die cut the center of these little flowers here. So that panel is done. But when I was looking at this, I felt that I was lacking color. So I went ahead and I grabbed a piece of pink cardstock, 3 dies, and I followed the rules I just explained you. But this time I used a sentiment die from another set, and that looks a lot better for me. It says happy birthday, and that panel is finished. So to add a hint of color, I use a die included in Rolling Along die set to cut this piece here, and I'm just going to adhere that in there. So the panels are done, and all I have to do is to add them to the card base. So here I have my card base. I'm going to place the die cut slits at the bottom of this piece here. You see that they are at the bottom, and I'm going to slide the panels like so, making sure that the larger or the top flap goes first on the slit, so that will slide in really easy. And that's pretty much what you need to do to create a very basic design. Once your panels are in place, you need to play with the fold a little bit until it just gets the shape. And I also decided to add a die cut behind the front panel of this card, just like an extra decorative element, totally optional. And another thing you can do is also adding a card base to this card if you want to, and to give it a little bit more stability. This card size is 5 by 7 inches. And remember that you can use any of the dies in this collection to make different things. Here I have some samples. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel or to visit my blog for more ideas and inspiration. You can find the links with supplies used in this video in the video description. Thank you very much for watching, and happy crafting. Bye!